breakfast, aside from getting to consume some of your favorite foods, is that this morning meal can help you sustain your energy levels throughout the day. According to the Cleveland Clinic, breakfast
Hello and good morning. This is This Morning Show this Wednesday morning, the 26th day of June 2024. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. I am Olasumbo Okoromi and I'm super glad that you can be with us this Wednesday morning. It's been a beautiful rainy day, starting from the past 2 days thereabout, but we're moving it through. Yes, it can be a bit of a mushy puddles, flood here and there in the streets of Lagos, but so far so good. It's been a good one. The weather has been so calming and very relaxing indeed. I trust you're enjoying the rains as well, because this is the season, so we have to make the very best of it. And talking about making the very best of every situation, today's morning show promises to be the very best for you, because we have come to you with so many things lined up and packaged for your information and entertainment. And of course, as we all know, the Wednesday morning edition of the morning show focuses on health and lifestyle. So today we have a lot for you as well as regards your health and lifestyle. So you want to be with us as we bring to you everything that we've lined up for you. Claire will be joining me shortly. She's just around the corner somewhere getting ready, and we are getting right into it. So looking at what we have on the top stories this morning on the show. In the news, national security, President Tinubu laments Northwest insecurity. And on health and lifestyle, today we'll be taking a look at sickle cell disorder, raising awareness and improving quality of life. Also in the news, FG bans single-use plastics in ministries, departments and agencies. And plus we have tax hikes, deaths reported, part of Kenya's parliament ablaze as protest intensifies. All these and more we have lined up for you. You want to stick around. We'll take a very short break, and when we return, we'll be looking at what's on the front burner. To stay tuned. Thank you very much for staying tuned to LN 24/7. This is This Morning Show. And right about now, we'll be looking at what's on the front burner. Our very first story on the front burner has to do with national security, as President Tinubu laments Northwest insecurity. President Tinubu says the insecurity in the Northwest region is affecting other parts of the country. Tinubu stated this in Katsina at a two-day summit themed regional cooperation for securing lives and livelihoods in Northwest Nigeria. Organized by the Northwest Governors Forum in collaboration with the United Nations Development Program, the President, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, said the security issue in the Northwest was not a sectional matter, adding whenever any part of the country was aligned, others would be affected. Tinubu noted that his administration's steps to combat its inherited security challenges were mapped out even before embarking on the journey. He assured Nigerians that his administration would not rest on his horse until banditry, terrorism, and other forms of insecurity were eliminated. Of course, these are issues that has been ongoing for quite some time now. And then we have the President, represented by his vice, Kashim Shettima, at the Northwest Forum in the Northwest region, talking about insecurity and how they intend to combat that particular issue. And of course, very shortly, once you see the phone lines on the screen, you can call us and let's hear your view on this particular issue. Moving on to our other story now on the front burner. Nigeria's Senate President Godswill Akpabio has denied claims that the 10th Senate was proposing the procurement of new aircraft for President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima. Akpabio, who addressed journalists in Maiduguri, described the claims as false. According to a Tuesday statement by the media aide Jackson Udom, the Senate President was in Borno State to pay a condolence visit to Senator Tara Mungunu over the death of his father. And in a quote, he says, "I want to dispel the rumor that you are hearing that the Senate President said he will buy a new plane for the President and his vice, irrespective of the fact that Nigerians are hungry or whatever Akpabio, or whatever," end of quote. Akpabio was quoted to have said. Then the quote continues, "I never said that. I was actually in Zanzibar, Tanzania. It is the handiwork of propagandists and fifth columnists who never see anything good in what we are doing. Be rest assured, pray for the government, have patience, and be assured that the combination of Tinubu and Shettima will bring wealth and prosperity to all." End of quote. Akpabio said the claim was from propagandists and fifth columnists, stressing that the Senate was focused on delivering legislation that would support the actualization of President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. He expressed satisfaction with the present security situation of Borno State, urging Nigerians to continue to pray for the present administration. That's another story that has been making rounds and garnering a lot of reactions from the general public as it concerns the fact that, or alleged that, the President of the Senate, that's Godswill Akpabio, made some comment about getting, acquiring new plane for the President and the Vice President, and he's coming out to refute that claim that he never said that. Moving on now to our next story on the front burner. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has restrained Ikeja Electric PLC and the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission, NERC, from applying, administering, and/or implementing the purported tariff stipulated in the April 2024 supplementary order of tariff increase on Band A feeders. In a ruling on Tuesday, the court held that the tariff comprises those published by Ikeja Electric on April 4, 2024, and or the May 2024 supplementary order of tariff increase on Band A, published on May 6, 2024, on a firm, Reader National Plastic Limited, Justice Chukwujeku Aneke made the interim injunction after hearing an expatriate application filed by Reader National Plastic, lawyer Kemi Fenerio San with F. Giwa Esquire and I. Aderibigbe Esquire. The judge ruled that the order subsides pending Ikeja Electric and next full compliance with Section 51 of the Electricity Act 2023, and the hearing and determination of the motion on notice for interlocutory injunction. Justice Aneke also temporarily restrained the first and second defendants from imposing the payment of the sum of 20 million naira on the plaintiff, being the balance payable on the purported electricity bill dated 4th of May 2024, calculated based on the April 2024 supplementary order on tariff increase on Band A feeders, and or the May 2024 supplementary order on tariff increase on Band A. That's another issue going on that has been in the news, and there is a court now, the Federal High Court is restraining the electricity, Ikeja Electric and NEC, restraining them from applying or implementing the new tariff that was, was passed some months back in April and in May, respectively. Of course, that also is another issue that would be, open for your contribution once you see the phone lines on the screen. We have another story on the front burner concerning the issue that is going on in Kenya. Moving on now, police allegedly fired live ammunition at anti-government protesters in Kenya's capital on Tuesday, as thousands of people continue to protest against proposed in the East African nation. At least 5 people were reported shot dead during Tuesday's clashes between police and protesters in Nairobi. According to Amnesty International, another 31 people were injured. The organization said, adding that at least 52 protesters have been arrested. Hundreds of protesters entered Kenya's parliament, setting part of the building ablaze for several days. Kenyans have been demonstrating against a new finance bill that introduces unpopular tax proposals that have drawn a lot of anger across the nation. The controversial bill, which has provision that are seen as imposing extra burdens on ordinary citizens and businesses, has sparked a huge outcry from the public already weighed down by the high cost of living. That is quite a sad turnout of events in Kenya as protesters continue to protest in the streets of Nairobi as it concerns the new hike in taxes, and many lives being lost there already. Right at this time, we will have the phone lines displayed on the screen. Let's hear your thoughts as it concerns all of the stories that we have brought to you on the front burner this morning. If we go back to the very first one, we gave you the story on national security issues as Tinubu laments Northwest insecurity, stating the fact that as the Northwest is being affected by the insecurity issues, it affects every part of Nigeria. Let's hear your thoughts on that. And then, of course, we have the story coming from Godswill Akpabio, that is the Senate president, denying the alleged claim that he made a statement saying that he would be purchasing or acquiring a new set of aircraft for the president and the vice president, and he has come out to deny this particular claim. So let's hear your thoughts on that as well. And then we also have the story about the court restraining Ikeja Electric and NEC from implementing new tariff. Let's see how that goes. Can the restraint, can it really be enforced at this point in time? And let's hear your thoughts about that as well, especially as it concerns the Band A customers for electricity in Nigeria. Then on the very last story we just looked at now is the tax hikes in Kenya as the protest, continues to get even more gory, because now there are what's it called now? There are reports that part of the House of Parliament has been set ablaze and several other people losing their lives, as the story, as we see the stories in the news coming in from Kenya right up at this time. Okay, well, let's take a very quick break, and then when we return, we will continue with the front burner, and of course, we'll have the phone lines open for your comments and contributions. Do stay tuned.
LN 24/7 lights up your day with unbeatable shows that guarantees absolute access to stories that revolves around politics, entertainment, and sports. Breaking news, plus detailed reports and analysis. At LN 24/7, where the story goes, we go.
What makes the political system what it is today? What are the recurring issues? Order. The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension. The instability of the system. Join LN 24/7 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
Apologize for saying that I was corrupt. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
Watch politics now on LN 24/7.
Don't miss Politics Now on LN 24/7. That's LN 24/7 Sports. Football just got better. For the fans. For loyalty. For the tackles.
Supernatural goal from Lionel Messi.
For the celebrations. For the goals. For the love of the game.
Thank you very much for staying tuned. You're still watching This Morning Show, and we are on the front burner. If you're just joining, we've already mentioned several of the stories that we are looking at this morning, and Cleopatra is here too. Good morning, Cleo.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Pleasant. I should say that.
I like your sweater. You know,
Thank you
give
so
it the
much.
feel of the rain.
Yes,
and
of course. Of course. It came as a result of the rains and, you know, it's been a very cold night.
Yeah.
I know you cannot relate with me.
No, come on, don't go there. Don't go there.
I know you can relate, but then...
Yeah,
it's been a very cold
Always
night.
be your naughty self.
For single Pringles like me, but
Oh,
then we
okay.
move. We move. But like I said, it's a good morning.
All right, then. Thank you very much. And, of course, we are on the front burner. We have several stories we are looking at this morning. And one particular one, of course, let me just run through, you know, one more time for the sake of our viewers that are just joining in. We mentioned the story about Tinubu lamenting the Northwest insecurity issue, about the fact that, mentioning the fact that they are going to put more effort in curbing the insecurity in the Northwest, as the Northwest is being affected by insecurity. It affects every other part of Nigeria. And then we have the story coming in from the Senate. The Senate president this time around denying the purported claim that he mentioned that he was going to be buying new airplanes for the president and the vice president. So he has come out to deny that particular claim. So that's on one end. And then we had the story coming from, as it concerns the electricity tariff. Federal High Court sitting in Lagos restraining Ikeja Electric PLC. I hear we have a call from Rivers State. Good morning. I didn't quite get the name. Deborah, good morning. Dobra. Hello, Dobra, good morning. Hello, are you there? Speak to us. Deborah, if you're there, let's hear you. We'll probably...
Okay,
There you are.
I would like to talk about the crisis in Kenya.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I think the problem with African leaders is that they are just too greedy. Hello?
Yes, we are hearing you. Go on. Yes.
Yeah, I think they are just too greedy. And that's why these whole things are happening. The cost of governance in Africa is just too much. They are just thinking about themselves. They don't care about the people they are governing. And the same thing will happen in Nigeria if they are not careful. Because you're creating ministries, you're creating offices just to please those that helped in getting you into office. You're not concentrating on how to get the country forward. It's just those that helped you into office that you're trying to please. And it's a very bad precedent. And I think if they're not careful, the same protest will come up in Nigeria too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deborah, for your thoughts. You know, coming from what he just mentioned, the issue in Kenya really, for me, I think is really getting out of hand at this point in time. And then it's been tagged the Gen Z protest, so to say. And we were talking about this in the office yesterday. I don't know when, I think that was after you came back or before you came back from your report. One of the things that was said was the fact that it seems that this generation, this younger generation, are more ready to like go for it, you know, to face whatever the challenge and make sure that you deliver on your campaign promises. Now, because why was that said? It was said that the president, as in Ruto, President Ruto, came in on the back of saying it was going to make Gen Z, you know, the generation more viable, it's going to make the government, you know, all-inclusive for them and all of that.
Especially
now,
for young people.
Exactly, especially for young people. Now you are in, and then nothing is happening, and they're already, you know, asking for results. We have a call from Kaduna. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Dairu, yeah, good morning.
This is Dairu from Kaduna.
Yes, please go ahead. Let's hear your thoughts.
I want to talk about the Northwest insecurity.
Yes, please go on.
To be honest speaking, the governors of the Northwest region, they are not ready to do anything about the insecurity. Just like I think if any of them can be able to put more strength about what Katsina State government is doing by mobilizing the youth, all those things, and so that they can be able to cope up with insecurity. Other state governors, they are not ready to participate in it. For example, look at Zamfara State. The people in Zamfara State, they are crying that banditry are taking over their land. Up to now, what are they doing? What did the chief of army staff? They know the villages. They know where all those people are there. Will you wait for them to come inside town before they begin to attack them? Yeah. They can sometimes they'll just come freely to the town and turn the innocent citizens and they'll rock back to their base. What happened that our own Nigeria army, our own security cannot go to the forest where those people are? These are territory. These are territory. This is something that they can go and do. If Nigeria army can go to Sierra Leone, Liberia to fight for what happened to our own territory. So if you consider what is going on, it's about political gain. That's what they are doing. So let the security, the chief security, and the governor and the leaders of the Northwest to stand up for their duties. That is my take on that.
Thank you, Dairu. Thank you for your thoughts. So many issues this morning. Everybody's arising indeed.
Yeah, but before that caller, the last call came in, you were talking about
the Kenya issue. Yes.
So I was just going to say that one thing that differentiates Kenyans, particularly the young ones, from maybe Nigerians or maybe young Nigerians, is the fact that they are relentless. You know, no matter how much the government tries to clamp down on them, you know, they won't back down. They just want their voices heard. And I think that a government that is really, as said, we're going to make sure that we put your concerns, your needs, and what you want, you know, to see in the nation, we're going to put into consideration and implement them. If you are really truthful to your word, you should at least hear them out, you know, or if you were even doing the right thing in the first place, you know, you came on the back of promises and the people who trusted you enough to, you know, elect you based on those promises. If you were really truthful and sincere enough, you should be able to do them. No sane country or people would see their government trying, even if they've not gotten to where they want to be, but when they see the efforts that are being put in place, you know, for the government to better their lives and do a lot of things, you know, to further alleviate the sufferings of the citizens, they would not come out to protest. People only come out to protest when they've had enough. You know, when they've had enough of whatever it is that they are struggling with, or they are, you know, they can't take it anymore. They just come out to protest. So the government should know that. People do not just, they are not animals that will just come out to protest. And you're trying to clamp down on them. It's not the solution, because even if you send them back home, months later they will be back again on the streets protesting, because the cost of living or the lifestyle is unbearable. And that is why we have all these things going on. I just wish that, you know, African leaders come to a point where they don't see protest or they don't see people's agitation as a means to, you know, exercise their undue power.
Please do all that. So we have Peace from Abuja. Hello, Peace. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good morning, beautiful ladies.
Thank you very much.
You're doing a very good job.
Let's hear your thoughts.
Okay, I want to comment on the issue of insecurity in Nigeria.
Okay.
Especially from the north. You see, the issue is our leaders have not really taken this as a priority. Are you trying to tell me that if you're living in your house, for instance, and you are aware that there's a python or something like a snake invading your house, that you wouldn't have done anything about it, or you wouldn't do anything about it, you would just go to sleep? It is because some of these insecurities that we lament have not really touched them. Because they feel, oh, it cannot come close to me. They have security protecting them. So it doesn't bother them. There are thousands of Nigerians that are suffering today simply because farmers cannot go to farm and get foodstuff for people to eat due to insecurity. In Abuja here, even when farmers try to go to the farm, their crops are destroyed. Some of these headers bring in, what's it called, their tools into the farm, and they destroy some of their crops. Why are our leaders like this? Why are they so insensitive? Why are they heartless? Insecurity it has eaten so deep into our system, and it has affected everything. So please, we are calling on the government to stand up. They can. Okay, Tinubu is lamenting. Who is he lamenting to? Is it me that will come and solve the insecurity issues for him, or is it you? He is the father of the nation. He is a leader. He is expected to be proactive. I am sure this issue has lingered on for a while, even before he came into office. I expect that he should have a blueprint on how to tackle issues like this, even before he came on seat. So please, we are lending our voices, and I'm happy. You people are mothers. At least from your angle, you should understand where I'm coming from. So the government should stand up. They should do something about this. We are tired. Nigerians are tired. Look at the man that was killed in Abuja yesterday. The retired general, due to insecurity, in FCT for that matter. Please, the government should do something about this. They should stand up. Tinubu should stand up. Tinubu should do what he is expected of him. Nigerians elected him. He should not disappoint them. He has disappointed a lot of people. Please, he still has time. He has some time to mend this thing. Please. That is a little contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peace. Well said. A lot has been said already, and what made me actually chuckled when Peace was talking was the fact that Tinubu is lamenting. Lamenting to who, really? You know, those kind of questions you really ask. Okay, lamenting to who?
You know, the sad part of this whole thing is, like she said, nowhere seems to be safe. You know, you can say that before now, you look at the Northeast and say, oh, it is what is affecting people in the Northeast and all of that. But we are seeing now that these things are spreading, fast spreading. The other day I saw a live video of someone who was driving on the other lane and, you know, taking a video clip of someone who was being at the point of kidnap. You know, of course, the person videoing couldn't do anything because they were doing that from their own car and also trying to get to safety so that they don't become a victim as well. But they were able to capture that particular incident in the FCT, and I was wondering if that can happen in a whole Abuja, the seat of power. So how much more other states? So I think is now. Land. Yeah, it's not a thing of national. I don't even know what to call national nuisance. You know, to have a whole nation where nowhere seems to be safe, and the government, who people are supposed to be looking up to, you know, are not telling you that they are lamenting and telling you that they have their hands full and they don't know what else to do again. It doesn't make sense, because that was the promise you gave to the people.
That was what I was hearing. Another call from Abuja. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, this is from Play 2, okay. Hello, good morning. John. Good morning, John.
Thanks for the good work.
Thank you very much.
I don't know what government we are. Good morning, ma. I don't know what government we are looking for to come and get for us. I am worried about this government because the past government knows about Boko Haram, knows about bandits.
John, I think you need to turn down the volume of your TV and talk to us, because we can hear your feedback and you are listening to yourself on TV. So turn down the volume of your TV and talk to us. Or you might have to call us back. Maybe right after when you turn down the volume of your TV set. Okay, yeah, so John will definitely call us back. You were trying to land on a thought.
You promised the people when we were during the campaigns saying that, so this issue of insecurity that we're currently experiencing, give me a chance, you know, I'll wipe it out, I'll do something about it. And then you get to that seat of power and you seem to be incapacitated.
We have another call. I didn't quite get the name now. Hello, good morning. Okay, John. John is back. Hello, John. Are you there? Okay, please, John, try to call us back. Okay, I'm listening. So
it really makes no sense. Like I think you've mentioned one time where you were quoting a particular, I don't know who that was, that said that if insecurity thrives in a nation for more than 24 hours.
Yeah, it was a former head of state that actually made that statement.
Exactly. So you know where to look at, you know where to turn to.
Probably
so the people who,
the people at the top.
Exactly. So the people who are sponsoring it, I think they know each other. That's just the truth. Because even among themselves, they've been pointing fingers, accusations, you know,
counter accusations,
you know, bringing out list of names and those people.
List of names that was never followed up on.
They were never followed up on. Those people who were, their names were being mentioned, you know, came out spitting brimstone and fire, and then the government seemed not to do anything about it, and that just, you know, fizzled out just like that. And you expect, you know, one to take such a nation seriously. I think that it's high time that the president or the presidency stop making that seat of power a joke. You know, that's just what I would say.
Now, two things comes to mind coming from our last caller, that piece mentioning the fact that this insecurity issue has been lingering for quite some time.
Yes.
These were all the things that this present administration used as a campaign platform. They campaigned
and the
on
ones before him.
Yes, and the ones before him. And they campaigned using these insecurity issues as their campaign promises, that they're going to get rid of it and all of that. So, right before coming into the seat of power, what was your plan? What is your blueprint? What were the things that you really had in mind that, oh, we're going to be able to curb the insecurity issue?
Right.
But now you have been in the seat of power over a year, and then we're still having this kind of talk coming from you that you inherited. It's in the statement that was released, you know. We have another caller.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, can we get your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is Monday from Abuja.
Okay, thank you very much, Monday. Let's hear your thoughts.
What I want to say concerning those our leaders, is it not the same Nigeria we are together? Are they living in another Nigeria? Because if they are living in this same Nigeria like this, people don't supposed to tell them what is happening in this country now. They're supposed to know what is happening in this country, because what people are facing now, it's not easy. It's not easy something. It's not something that somebody's supposed to tell them. Because I believe the same thing they eat is the same thing we eat. They eat rice, they eat beans, they buy gari. It's the same thing we are buying. And they know, they know the prices, all those things. How can a person receive 50,000 in a month and you expect that person to face this thing that is going on in this country? Or maybe 60-something, or 62, or 64. How is it going to cope? How is it going to cope? Only a mudu of beans is 3,000 something. How is it going to cope? Are they not living in this same country? In fact, let those people do the right thing. They know the right thing. Because it's not easy for people again in this country now. And they know it. How did they, I don't know the way, I don't know how they are seeing it in the outside. However, for God's sake, let them know the truth. Let them follow the truth. They know the truth. They are just doing as if they don't know the truth. It's not easy. Thank you.
Thank you, Monday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Now, let me read the very statement coming in from the statement that was read by the Vice President representing the President at this event in Northwest. He said, Tinubu noted that his administration's steps to combat its inherited security challenges were mapped out even before embarking on the journey. So they knew, they said they have mapped out steps. So, but from the look of things, it's not looking like as if the mapped out steps is being, is being put into action. All we are hearing is more talk and more talk. Can we see action? Can we see even a bit of a difference in the whole, you know, situation? Because it's looking like as if it's getting even worse.
Yeah, intensified.
Yes, it's getting even worse. So, yes, if you have a mapped out steps that you have put, exactly, by now we should be seeing those mapped out steps being implemented. And that is what I think why the people are a bit, you know, uneasy. They think maybe you are not doing anything. Yes, you know, sorry, my dear, we have another call from Abuja. Several calls coming from Aziz calling us from Abuja. Several calls coming in from Abuja this morning. Hello, Aziz.
Good morning, ma.
Good morning. Thank you very much for calling. Let's hear your thoughts. Hello, Aziz, are you there?
I wonder why Nigerians are still expecting change.
Continue, please. Is that all you have to say? Okay, Aziz, that was just a question.
Yeah.
And I think, if I may answer, yes, people should expect change. Change for the better. They should expect change. So those are the kind of things, you know. Of course, when you get to a stage and you are not seeing anything happening, there is the tendency of frustration setting in. I hear Aziz is back. Hello, Aziz.
Yes, ma'am.
Please go on.
Can you hear me?
We're with you.
We are hearing you. We can hear you.
Okay. You know, they know who Boko Haram is. They know who bandits are. They know where they stay. They know who they do business with. They still do business with them, even the government. So it's just that it is part of their business. They are using that to make money for themselves. If they really want to change Nigeria, they can change it. It's just a group of people that are controlling the country by their own wicked desires. During Buhari's regime, there was a protest, NSAS protest. I am telling you, Nigerians are getting to somewhere that they cannot be controlled. Why Nigerians are being quiet? Because they are being patient, because we are afraid. Some of us are afraid, but now the hunger is taking the fear out of Nigerians. We are coming back for them, whether they like it or not. If they don't change, Nigerians will come back massively, more than what happened in NSAS. It will be better for them, because we'll follow them in as a team. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Aziz. Thank you. You were trying to make a
you know, I actually lost that train of thought, but then still talking about the insecurity issue. Yes, I think I remember what I was saying now. You know, so I was talking about how when a government, you know, make promises to people and then you are not able to fulfill it. Then when a government says that they are doing something and the people cannot see
what you're doing in particular.
What you're doing, or you now have to explain yourself that this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing over and over again, and no one seems to be seeing the result of that thing that you are doing. Then it means that you are doing, either you are doing rubbish or you are not even doing anything at all.
Or you need to change your approach.
I'm trying to remember the name of this particular political activist that said if you do something and you spend the next 1 hour explaining that thing that you did, then you have not done anything. So the government should sit back and look at that particular mapped out plan that they have, those strategies that they have. How best is it working? How is it working for them? Have they seen the dividends of those strategies and mapped out plan? And how do they want people to, in what light do they want people to see them? You know, I don't know if the government, maybe the ones that are here now or the ones that are past, how they usually see themselves when they are in power. Do they actually always think, because this thought has always come to my mind, have they always thought that after I leave this office, what would people say about me? What would the perception?
Posterity, like they say.
Posterity.
Exactly.
What would I be known for? What would I be, you know,
remembered
for? Of course, each government that came into power, we can remember them for certain things, whether good or bad.
Exactly.
You know, I don't know why government will come into power, you know, promise people so many things, and then you're doing the exact opposite of that which you promised.
Oh,
no,
you say it seems like you're not doing anything.
It seems like you're not doing anything. You say let the poor breathe. You know, we owe it the responsibility to them to do what this and that. I think I think we have a call. Okay, please. You know, you tell them let the poor breathe and all of that stuff, and at the end of the day, the poor are choking. So what exactly were you trying to say? What exactly are you doing? Do you think that it is the right thing, you know, to do?
And then again, when you talk about, you know, I was never, how will I put it, I didn't really buy into that, the slogan, let the poor breed. We shouldn't be talking about the poor. In a nation where there is a large, how will I put it, large reserve of natural resources and the human capital. We should make the best of what that is available in Nigeria. We have large expanse of lands that can be used for agriculture to the extent that we can even produce. Now, why did I say that? On the Saturday morning show, myself and Zoe was here, and then we're talking about the fact that Nigeria spends over $600 billion in the export of, is it billion now or million? I'm trying to remember, but I know the figure, 600 in dollars in the importation, not export, sorry, in the importation of palm oil. Imagine that. Can you imagine that? Can you sit down and think about that just for a moment? It's really absurd indeed. When Nigeria is known, or used to be known, let me not, you know, used to be known for a large wealth and reserve of palm produce. And then we're talking of spending billions of dollars or millions of dollars, hundreds
to
of
import
millions,
the same oil that we have in abundance.
Oil that we have in abundance. And you think of things like this and you wonder, whatever happened to us? Whatever happened to this nation known to be well endowed in agricultural produce, the large expanse of lands? What are we doing with them? The last caller from Abuja, Peace, if I remember her name correctly, mentioned something about this. People can't even go to their farms. When they try to go, all the farm produce are destroyed, the crops are stomped upon, and then we are asking the question or having to wrap our head around the fact that there is hunger and that there is no food in the land. You know,
when you're talking about question,
this and then we'll take
talking about question, the question I've always been asking myself is really, I think Nigerians should begin to ask the government that did they actually sign, or is there a possibility that the government actually signed a treaty to impoverish the people?
To impoverish the people of
because
the
at this point, it's getting
to those kind of questions.
It's getting to the point where you are beginning to think, is this whole thing, is it also an agenda?
Exactly.
You know, maybe, of course, we've always known that poverty and hunger has always been a weapon, you know, and all of that. But when it comes to certain extent, where even people who could afford certain things before, you know, based on their hard work and all of that, can't even do that again. And then you put in double of that effort, and they still cannot afford and they still cannot afford what they would afford before. You would wonder, has the government sold the people out? Have they done something, you know, to ensure that
have they compromised so much to ensnare their own, you know, conscience?
Exactly.
Snare their conscience to the fact that you would rather want your people suffer, you know, at the expense of what? You know, all of these questions we have, you know, put before you, many more stories coming in. And of course,
in wrapping up,
ironically,
we need to ironically, you know, we're talking about all the protests and that's going in Kenya. But the truth is, if you ask an average Kenyan, what they are experiencing is far lesser than what Nigerians are experiencing
right now.
So our leaders should think twice, you know, when they are doing things. People have been patient and very gracious enough with them. They've given them enough time and long ropes. They should do something about these situations in the country.
Exactly, and I think I strongly believe that once security issue is resolved, several other things will fall into place. We need to take that very quick break right now because we are, you know, time is fast spent on the front burner. We are moving on to other things coming up on this morning show this Wednesday morning. We'll be going to our health and lifestyle segment shortly after this break. Just stay with us.
That's right.
Sickle cell disease is a hereditary blood disorder characterized by sickle-shaped red blood cells. These cells can lead to various health complications, significantly impacting the quality of life for those affected. Sickle cell is a disease caused by a mutation in the gene, which encodes the beta-globin subunit of hemoglobin. Now, hemoglobin is the protein in red blood cells responsible for carrying oxygen throughout the body. It is typically diagnosed through newborn screening programs, which involve a blood test to detect the presence of hemoglobin S. This mutation follows an autosomal recessive inheritance pattern, meaning that a person must inherit 2 copies of the sickle cell gene, one from each parent, to have the disease. Those who inherit only 1 copy of the gene are carriers, known as having sickle cell traits. The symptoms of sickle cell disorder vary widely, but commonly include pain crisis, infections, organ damage, acute chest syndrome, and many more.
Having lost someone to sickle cell anemia is, I think, number one for us. We didn't know. We weren't in the know that was what was wrong with her, but we knew she was different, right? So I think our government needs to do better. The medical sector too needs to do better. More information out there that if you have someone that looks a certain way, you should test the person for this. I'm talking from my personal experience. We didn't know that was what was wrong with her, but we knew she was different. She was always sick. Her legs were always paining her. Her tummy was big. Her eyes were yellow. But we thought, okay, she was just different. You know, she would get better. Until about when she became a teenager, it became worse. We didn't care for her the way we should because we didn't know what to do. It was until she passed that we knew, oh, this was wrong with her. These are the things we're supposed to do. So we didn't know. But now, I know better.
We have categories, you know, we have AA, we have AS, and we have SS. So the sickle cell SS, you know, generally known. And it's something that I believe with the invention of, with medical inventions, and people have come to consciousness of the fact that sickle cell is no longer unlike in those days, that people feel that when they give birth to a child, the child died, and you know they try to, you know, acclimatize it to something spiritual. So, but with the invent of medical, you know, time, so people are able to come to the consciousness of the fact that yes, this has nothing to do with spiritual or involvement or whatever. It has to do with the blood group of the child and an individual. So, and it's so obvious that anybody with sickle cells, you know, usually fall sick, crises here and there. You know, I have 2 of my colleagues. So, and they're actually doing well because they have doctors who are attending to them. They actually do well. Though sometimes they do fall, you know, they do have this crisis, and thank God for people around usually assist them to get to the hospital, and you know, in due time they get back to their feet rather.
Okay, so you said you have colleagues who are a victim of this crisis. So what is the first aid like? What are the first things you do to them when
the first time it happens, though I was not in the office that day, so but though some of them, like the 2 person I'm talking about, there's this one of them that you can even hardly know that she's a sickle cell patient. But I learned that when she had the crisis, she was at the office. So, and the management staff around quickly rallied around her and picked her to the hospital with the parastatals ambulance. And it wasn't just any hospital, but the hospital that she has, because she has already filled some forms which shows that yes, she has a consultant, she has been consulting in the particular hospital she has been, so she was quickly taken to that hospital for medical attention.
I do have at least 3. The first one was in, I think it should be 51 years ago now, because my first daughter is now 40 years in London. The sister-in-law, she's a nurse, Papa, but she died at 40. So, and she had Ayo at the age of 20. So, and that was then. The second one is the guy, a young boy of 18 years, Sunday. He got married early and today he's still surviving. He's still alive.
Knowing ways to better manage the situation when crises occur is quite important when it comes to saving a victim. Mr. Tayo, a barrister and a father of 3, is a sickle cell survivor, and he shares his personal experience about living with and managing sickle cell disorder.
To me, I believe sickle cell anemia is when some of the red blood cells that you are having within you dies and causing a disorder. So so that disorder brings about you having that sickle cell anemia. That's the crisis. So that's what sickle cell anemia really is to me. That's a breakdown of red blood cells. So that's it. In summary, it hasn't been easy. I think there's a stage where you get to where you stop having crisis, really. My final stage, the final stage I got to when I stopped having a crisis, I think I was at the law school, Nigerian law school then, many years ago. I think it was 2010. Back then, sometimes when you have that crisis, it will be as if someone is pounding. It's like when you are pounded yam. Yes, that's the kind of pain I felt back then. I remember, okay, when I was at the university, I had it when I was in 500 level. Yes, I had a crisis when I was in 500 level. I was preparing to be through with my university education. Whenever they have a feeling that their child is having that crisis, I think what they should do is go and get hot water. Hot water, yes, because it worked for me. Get hot water. Don't look at it like, okay, fine, you want it to be cool. No. What I did then, the hot water must be really, really hot, because it will stretch your nerves, stretch your bones, you understand. So I applied hot water. So my first aid then was hot water. My wife is AA, so none of my children has SS. None of my children is SS. So because as a sickle cell, if you're having sickle cell, what you should do is don't look at it like, okay, because you love someone, she's AS, you want to risk it. Your parents, they risked it, and that's why you add those crises. So it's something you should watch out for. If you are looking for someone to court, someone you want to get married to, you have to look for the person has to be an AA. Those with sickle cell anemia, they are human beings as well. Look at me, I'm a lawyer. Just came out from the court, so I'm a lawyer. So I believe if you're having sickle cell anemia, you can, no matter what, you can still get to, be whatever you wish to be. You can be the president of Nigeria in the future if you have it in your mind. So, and first of all, survival is key, and to survive, you have to have God. Just know that that's number one thing. Whenever I was faced with those crises back then, I think about God.
Taking precautions like intending couples going for genotype screening is one of the ways experts recommend for avoiding sickle cell disorder. Statistics state that about 50 million people are living with sickle cell disorder globally, and Nigeria is the epicenter zone with about 4 to 6 million people living with the disease. 1 in every 4 Nigerians has a sickle cell trait annually, and about 300,000 newly diagnosed sickle cell disease children are born worldwide. Oluwakemi Adesoye, LN 24/7, Lagos.
Thank you very much for staying tuned to LN 24/7. This is This Morning Show, this Wednesday morning, the 26th day of June 2024. And we are talking health and lifestyle at this point in time on the show. And that report you just saw, of course, gave us a background into our topic of discussion for today, sickle cell disorder. And we're looking at, the raising awareness and improving quality of life. So talking about sickle cell disorder and what can be done to improve quality of life with person, living with this condition. And joining us now is Anthony Babatunde, a public health specialist and the operations manager of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria. And he's right here to help us make sense of this discussion. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Smooth. Good morning, Cleo.
Thank you.
Nice to be with you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Yes. Now, we just saw that report together, and just a week ago, exactly a week ago, was World Sickle Cell Day Awareness. And we've heard about the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a bit about what your foundation did in raising awareness? Because basically, the World Sickle Cell Day is about raising awareness about sickle cell and listening to people talking about sickle cell. Some still have this notion, and then one of we saw a carrier, or should I say someone living with sickle cell disorder in that report that we just watched, and talking about using hot water. So really, can you just give us more information about the works of your foundation and how can sickle cell be managed truly?
All right, thank you very much. Nice to be with you at LN24.
Thank you. LN24/7.
LN24/7.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Looking at sickle cell disorder, last week we celebrated the World Sickle Cell Day, and Nigeria as well as the entire world celebrated this day. In 2008, the United Nations earmarked this day to raise awareness regarding this condition. And if you dial back to the history of sickle cell in Nigeria, you will understand that there are a number of myths surrounding this condition. And a good number of persons believe things that are not true. A number of myths, some of them believe persons with sickle cell disorder have ogbanje. Some also believe that they have what's called, some believe they are biku, that they are born to die. Some also believe that they are emerio, they come from the waters, and that is the reason why they pass on so quickly. But we've come to see that this is not true, because medical science has evolved over time, and the knowledge about sickle cell has improved, and that is why it was important for the United Nations to set a day aside to raise awareness. And for us in Nigeria, as one of the major stakeholders in this, because Nigeria is the country with the highest burden of the disorder, and it is imperative for we to be at the forefront, and that is why we are championing it. Yes, we are championing it. Nigeria, as it stands, have more than 50% of the global burden. It is estimated that 300,000 babies are born every year. But in Nigeria alone, about 150,000 babies are born each year. And the worst part of it is 100,000 and above of them might not live to see their 5th birthday. And that is why it is important. And for we at the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, we use this period of World Sickle Cell Day to amplify the voice of persons living with the condition, to raise awareness, and to ensure that the relevant stakeholders come and participate and collaborate to ensure that persons living with the condition live a pain-free life. For us, we have this slogan for this World Sickle Cell Day, that a pain-free life is possible. So at the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, we've been able to carry out a number of interventions, very strategic. One of our flagship events was the virtual town hall meeting. That happened on the 20th of this month. That was last week, Thursday. And it was a virtual event, as the name connotes, and it was meant to galvanize persons living with the condition. We want their voice to be heard. We want the relevant stakeholders to hear them. that event was able to bring in different stakeholders. We have the WHO, we have the Federal Ministry of Health, we have Lagos State, we have Delta State represented, we have different stakeholders from other organizations, advocacy groups, and the likes. And also, that program was meant to hand the baton to those who are the voiceless. So that was the essence of that program. So, yes. So that was the essence of that program. And at the end of that program, we were able to draw out a communique, which we are going to share to all the relevant stakeholders. As a matter of fact, that communique was read to the press on the 20th. And this is because in the previous years, we've always done what is called a public lecture, where we have experts speak on the conditions, tell you don't do this, don't do that, and it's just as if the experts are saying this to the persons who are affected. But we wanted it to come now from those who are really affected. So that platform was purely designed for them, and it was very interactive, very engaging, and then we have a lot of people from across the globe who joined, close to 1,000 who joined that program. So via our various social media, on Zoom, it was a very, very successful program. Also,
but before you continue with that, so I wanted you to quickly highlight what the communique had. You know, after all the action and the talk and everything, what was communicated in the community?
Yes, a number of things were established in that communique. Now, it was also established that sickle cell disorder affects us. It is our problem. And also, because as a result of the fact that it is a Nigerian problem, a vast majority of persons with have the condition. So we were able to establish that it affects the Nigerian population, and as a result, government, private stakeholders, and all other stakeholders must put their hands together to ensure that things begin to work right. Part of what was in the communique was advocacy for newborn screening. We have a pocket of newborn screening currently in some states, but we want to see a holistic program, a nationwide newborn screening, and this is one of the things that was brought to the front burner of that discourse. Also, we have the need to prioritize their medications. Persons living with sickle cell disorder are expected to live on daily, to use medication daily. They have routine medications, and most of the time this is out of pocket. So we want to see how these individuals get medications. There's also a need for us, part of what was in that communique was the need for them to be enrolled into the HMO. Currently, many HMOs do not see it as a good business. So they prefer to get people who don't have this condition, or they might prefer to treat them for malaria and some minor issues where things that are particular to them, their routine tests, are not being catered for. So we want to see policies. Part of it is for government to implement policies, laws that will also back those policies and ensure that HMO take them up their wings and begin to cater for them. We want to see people be able to access comprehensive care across the 36 states of Nigeria. So that is part of what we are driving at. There are quite a number of things in that communique.
But this one that you've highlighted really shows that you know a lot needs to be done, all hands needs to be on deck. I'm sure you have something.
Meanwhile, having said all of this,
I was trying to. I just mentioned one of the activities that we did. Doing sorry, please. Yes, one of the activities that we did. We also had the annual school quiz competition. Yes. And the annual school quiz competition is one of our flagship events, and the essence of this competition is to draw school children, school-age children. It is important in our fight to catch them young. We can't really fight the menace of sickle cell disorder without educating the young ones. So that was a strategic event for us, and we do that on an annual basis.
Okay.
For this last program, we had 20 schools that came across from the 6 educational districts in Lagos State who participated in this event. It was a fun way to learn and a competitive way also. So we were able to pass this message. For us, we've been able to develop ambassadors within the school system who are also members of families. And they are going there as champions, having the requisite knowledge about sickle cell, the right knowledge. Because at the end of the day, they were able to see that this was wrong, this is a myth, and this is how to, these are the best steps to take. So that was another event we had. We also have lined up of community outreach, which we are still going to implement as part of our World Sickle Cell Day initiative.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's really, really nice.
Yeah,
impressive.
very impressive.
Now you said all these things, what's the awareness like? Because it's one thing for people to be working behind the scene, trying to, you know, make those living with sickle cell their lives better and all of that, or to cut down the numbers of sickle cell that we have. But what's the awareness like? Since you have dealt, you know, with this particular sickle cell disorder, you know, on a large platform, can you say that, especially in Nigeria, that there is enough awareness as to how people can prevent, you know, giving birth to children with sickle cell, and those that already have it, how they can manage it? Is there such awareness?
Well, there's one thing I will tell you is that awareness is insufficient and cannot be too much. But there's an established fact that awareness about the disorder has improved tremendously over the past few years. And we've seen in some places now, people understand that there's a condition called sickle cell disorder. And the myths about sickle cell, although we are still trying to debunk as many as possible, because we don't want to believe that everyone knows it. Yes, there's still a need for continuous awareness, education across, especially to those in the rural settings. But I must say on a good percentage that awareness have improved. We have a good number of advocacy groups that have sprung up in the last few years across Nigeria, and they are doing their bits in different parts of the country to educate the people. And this is really impacting. People are becoming more enlightened about the conditions. Today you see people who want to do tests because they have heard one thing about sickle cell. They don't go to the herbalist. Maybe some person might still be going to the herbalist or the fetish home to find the destiny of their children. But I want to believe that to a large extent we receive calls from different parts of the country asking, trying to get enrolled into our genetic counseling because the awareness about the condition is improving. People want to learn more about the condition.
That is quite interesting. Do you have a follow-up?
Yes, I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
Okay, so based on your work with the sickle cell disorder, how best can it be managed? Because I've seen within the reports that we saw, you know, we saw someone talking about him living with the sickle cell, and even gave like a free tip to those who are experiencing. Talking about the hot water. But based on what you have experienced or seen with people, how best can it be managed? Because, like it or not, there are people currently, you know, going through the pain of sickle cell. I actually lost a friend 2 months ago, you know, to this same sickle cell disorder. You know, he tried as much as possible to manage himself, and at the end of the day, I think majorly what killed him was because of the mom who used to take care of him, you know, passed on. And then by the time he had his next crisis, no one was there to actually look after him. So how can people really manage this?
All right, very interesting question. I must say that managing sickle cell disorder is, like my director would say, national director, is not a stroll in the park. And it is individualistic. The care may differ from one person to another, but there are things that is expected of each and every individual to do to stay healthy. Okay, so it begins from education. So it's a holistic approach that you can use to manage sickle cell. You can't just say do this and all is solved. So you need to look at the entire spectrum of care. The physical care, you look at the mental, you look at the emotional, even the spiritual. And that is why we at the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, we always emphasize genetic counseling. If you come to us, you have a condition, we advise you to speak with our trained genetic counselors who will guide you on what you need to do, the do's, the don'ts. There are common things they need to do. They need to drink enough water, to stay hydrated, and to ensure that the blood remains very less viscous and can move
through the veins.
Yes, free flow of the blood around the vessels. You know, one of the reasons why one of the reasons for the complications that we have surrounding sickle cell is blockage of vessels as a result of the sickled hemoglobin. So drinking enough water helps a lot. Okay, we also have eating good diet. We have routine check. They need to be on routine medication. They have folic acid, they have the B complex, they have their anti-malaria. They need to sleep under insecticide-treated nets to ensure that they are not infected by malaria. That the little things they need to do. The need for children aged 2 to 16 years, they need to do a routine test to determine their risk of having stroke. I don't know if you've heard about that. Children between that age group can have stroke. So even at our center, we have a unit that is designed
dedicated to that.
Yes. So that is a preventive measure that we try to implement. So we are able to determine those who are at risk and then recommend for them to be initiated into treatment and care immediately to prevent. So depending on the symptoms of that individual, there are some that has leg ulcer. You have to manage it very well. There are some that have priapism.
What's that?
Priapism.
Yes, what is priapism?
Okay, priapism is for the male. Yes, it's a condition for the male where the genital will just become erected, and that can last for hours.
Wow, that's serious.
It can last for hours. It's very painful, and if urgent, if urgent attention is not being taken care, sometimes it can lead to impotency, and so it is that bad. So there are quite a number of things. So it is care is dependent on the symptom, the state of that person. But as we would like to say, the person needs to visit the hospital on a regular basis, need to take their routine medication, need to do follow-up as much as possible, need to avoid extreme weathers. Too much heat,
extremely cold,
too much cold. Yes, they need to prevent that. They need to eat well, exercise little, normally, know your limits. As much as possible, you should know your limits. For a good number of persons that we've spoken with, they'll tell you they know when their crisis is about to start. Okay? So when you've observed yourself over time and you've seen that my body is reacting this way, you know, there's an onset of crisis. Begin to take the requisite measures to ensure that it stops. So one of the things they need to do, everyone, if you need to manage, see a counselor, a genetic counselor. It starts from there, so that you know the do's. I'm not a trained genetic counselor, but you need to know the do's, the don'ts. There are so many of them. I just mentioned a few of them. Yes, there are so many of them.
That few, you're even making a lot of sense right now. And of course, I can latch all of this to the fact that these are things that you cannot do on your own. You will need a medical professional, and like you just rightly mentioned, a genetic counselor to actually guide you through.
Yes.
But then talking about
many of those things that you need to do, there are remedies you can do at home. So with the help of the genetic counselor, because it's not a one-day affair. Over time, you need to have recurrent visits. You go to the hospital, they review you do some tests, they review your test results, and then they advise you on what next to do. So it's a continuous management. And for us at the Sickle Cell Foundation, we are looking at comprehensive. They might, from the discussion you have with the genetic counselor, they can say, no, you need to meet a psychiatrist. So we call in our psychiatrist and say, okay, have this discussion with this person. There are some who are also addicted to some medications, because pain is one of the hallmarks of sickle cell. So some of them get addicted to
the painkillers.
Painkillers.
Yeah.
And a lot happens when they get. That's another ball game. So when you have this kind of individuals, you want to manage them in a different way.
Wow.
So it's a comprehensive management.
A lot is really coming to my mind. Now, two things I want you to quickly, address for us. There is this notion, or like we saw one of a person living with sickle cell disorder in that report we just saw at the beginning of this discussion, mentioning the fact that there is a stage a person that has sickle cell disorder gets to, and they don't see the crisis anymore. They don't experience the crisis anymore. That is one myth, or should I call it a school of thought, that you might get to a particular stage in your life and you don't get to experience the pain anymore. Then the number two question, at the beginning of our conversation, you mentioned the fact that the Sickle Cell Foundation of Nigeria latched this particular period to the fact that sickle cell disorder patients living without pain. Can you talk to us more on this? The pain issue, can there be a stage someone gets to and they don't experience pain anymore? And then the people that are experiencing it, can they live without experiencing pain?
Very good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, I want to say there is no age when a person will no longer have crisis. Okay? We've seen over time that as individuals get more informed, and many a time it's a function of age. As they grow older, they tend to know what they need to do not to have crisis. Crises are usually triggered. Okay? If you overstress yourself, you can have a crisis. If you overstress yourself over a period of time, you can have a crisis. So for individuals, they know their limits. They know how to work. They know what to do. And that is why there are some jobs that might not be too appropriate for persons living with sickle cell. But we've seen people who do quite a lot. We've seen rugby players. We've seen musicians. We've seen the likes of so many others that do quite a number. But they also manage themselves very well. So we've seen that over time, as people begin to grow older, they have more information about the condition. So they know what to do. So they feel they have less crisis at the end of the day.
Can I cut in there? Please, can we take a very quick break? Let's take a very quick break and then we'll be right back. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for staying tuned. We are still talking sickle cell disorder. This morning show on LN 24/7 is the Wednesday edition, and when we know it's the Wednesday edition, it's health and lifestyle, and our focus today is about raising awareness about sickle cell disease and improving the quality of life of persons living with this condition. And on set we have Mr. Anthony Babatunde. He is a public health specialist and operations manager of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, and he's been talking to us for quite a while. If you're just joining, I'm sorry you've missed a bit. So before we went on that break, you were making a point about age and experience giving the advantage to a person living with sickle cell disorder, meaning that it will reduce their occurrence of pain crisis. Can you talk to us more on that?
All right, thank you so much.
Yes.
Yes, like I said, there's no age where you will not have crisis. But you see, crises are triggered. There are factors that trigger crisis. Okay? The sickle cell itself, the hemoglobin is expected to be round on a normal day. But when they are triggered for persons that have sickle cell disorder, they change. They become sickled, sickle shape. So when they become sickle shaped, they tend to block. They become sticky, rigid, and tend to block vessels. When they block vessels, that is when people have crisis. Like I said earlier on, there are things that can be done. There are do's and don'ts that a person can adhere to and ensure they live a pain-free life. So I've been able to establish that there's no age. There's no age that a person cannot have crisis. Just like there's no age a person cannot fall sick. So across the age group, anybody can fall sick. But the fact remains that as people grow older, they get to learn about their body, they get to know what to do in order not to fall sick. You know, it's very difficult for children to adhere to certain things. Say, don't do this, don't do this. They might feel, why? But these days we are beginning to see children obey and then adhere to instruction because they participate in counseling. So when we tell them, where's your water bottle? They are with their water bottle. We say, drink enough water. The parent hand it over to them. They drink water. If you don't drink water, you might have crisis. You might have pain. So they are now getting informed. So we see children too who also are living well. But like I said, across all age groups, anybody can fall sick. Yes.
Now, let's talk about that pain now. At the beginning of our conversation, you mentioned that
a pain-free life is possible.
A pain-free life is possible.
Very
how
true. A pain-free life is possible because, like I said, science has evolved. That's the truth.
Yes.
Science has evolved and management of sickle cell has really improved. Yes. Before now, you hear that although in Nigeria, the life expectancy for persons with sickle cell disorder is still below 22 years. Unlike in the US where it's above 60 years. So that tells you that people can live better with proper management. People can live longer, healthier lives. We have at our foundation, we have a portrait of an icon. We call her an icon of hope, Mommy Laguda. For us, she's an icon of hope because she lived to 94 years old with sickle cell disorder.
That is remarkable.
Yes. And currently,
94, you just said.
94.
Wow.
And today we have persons in their 70s. We know of persons in their 65. We know of persons in their 90s living with the condition. So that is to tell you people can live much longer and people can live healthy. There's a do's. Eat good food. Don't overstress. Sleep under insecticide-treated nets. Malaria tends to complicate it. If you don't have malaria, the case won't be complicated. So because malaria breaks down red blood cells, so it tends to complicate their case. You know, anemia is one of the challenges persons with sickle cell have, which is the shortage of blood. Because the hemoglobin, the red blood cell tends to break down faster compared to persons with a normal hemoglobin, where their red blood cells can stay between 90 to 120 days. But for persons with sickle cell, their red blood cell stays within 10 to 20 days and it breaks down. So that is one of the reasons why they have shortage of blood. So if you know what to do, you eat good food, you take your routine medications regularly, you sleep under insecticide treatment, then you ensure you don't have malaria as much as possible. You take, there's a medication now that is being promoted as part of our communique. We said everybody should be placed on hydroxyurea because it has been known to be very effective and helpful.
Okay. Now talking about crisis, you know, like you mentioned that there are different ways to actually, there's no one way, like you said, to manage the sickle cell disorder. But when it comes to crisis, are there, what's that word now to use? The first thing to do, like a first aid, or what the individual who has this sickle cell disorder can quickly do, or those around them? Because I've seen situations whereby, in a case where people are handling a sickle cell patient, since they don't know exactly, you know, how to handle the person, you know, that's led to the person's death and all of that. Maybe while they're in school or somewhere else, that they are not close to where they usually would get, you know, their needed help.
Okay, I would like to answer that question in this way, depending on what the symptom is. Okay, you can't just say you do this and it will. Depending on the symptoms of the person. If the person is having a bone pain, you may want to give an analgesic. Okay, if it's having a pain crisis, you may want to give an analgesic and then watch over time. But you can't use that for all other conditions or symptoms that you find a person. So depending on, if it's priapism, say, okay, use cold water and then cold running water to ensure that you see if it can go down, and then you watch for about 30 to 1 hour. If nothing happens, you seek an emergency. You see your doctor as quickly as possible. So depending on the symptoms, that is what will inform the management. So it's not of that crisis at that point in time. But as much as possible, we want to encourage the families, friends, and everybody to empathize with them and to give them the support. When they are complaining about pain, they are actually having pain. For some individual, you might get used to the fact that this person always complains about pain, and you feel like, is it only you? Are you the only one? What is pain? Where is the pain now? And sometimes they might not even know where the pain is.
But they will just feel uncomfortable.
They are just all their body. Some, you know, for persons who feel rheumatic pain, you feel a pain within the bone, and it's very painful. So it's very painful. But people have likened the sickle cell crisis pain to be more than childbirth.
Wow.
Yes, so it can be so painful. It can be so very painful.
Okay, now let's talk about treatments and new technologies. We are aware that, you know, as you just mentioned a while ago, that technology is evolving, and a lot of new innovations are coming up. And one of such is the gene therapy, gene editing, and all of these kind of, you know, technologies that we are aware that, you know, science has used to, like, think of getting rid of some diseases. Now, can gene therapy or gene editing be used to curb, you know, or eradicate sickle cell disorder? That on one end, which I know can be very capital intensive. Now, that is on one end. Then on the other end, you just mentioned the array of things that a sickle cell disorder patient needs to do, the feeding pattern, exercise, and all of that. Now, do we, apart from your foundation, you know, giving opportunities to people to come, get counseling and get treatment for sickle cell disorder, are there other, you know, maybe facilities, government-owned, private-owned, and how affordable are they for people to really, even talking about your foundation, how affordable are these, you know, treatments to the person's experiencing, especially with the fact that the economic situation in the country right now,
very true.
Not really, you know, being favorable. So, what do you have to say about the gene therapy thing, you know, concerning sickle cell disorder, and then affordability of healthcare for people that have sickle cell disorder?
Yeah, thank you. Looking at newer technologies currently in the management of sickle cell, you know, before now they have it, they say sickle cell does not have a cure. But thankfully today we have a cure, and the foundation has been able to establish a bone marrow transplant center in collaboration with Lagos University Teaching Hospital.
Oh, that's good.
Bone marrow transplant is also called stem cell transplantation. It is similar to gene therapy. However, in the case of bone marrow transplant, you need a donor. But in gene therapy, to take the person's stem cell, the person itself stem cell, and then manipulate it in the laboratory and transfer. So what we have currently in Nigeria is a bone marrow transplant established center. And with that, we are able to take the stem cell of a matched donor. Okay? For us, we have kept our own protocol to be very simple, and we need a matched sibling donor.
Nice.
So we are able to get a matched sibling donor, take the stem cell from that individual, and then do your processing and reintroduce it into the patient. The patient at the end of the day gets the genotype of the donor.
Wow.
So that cures the person.
That looks like a miracle.
Yes, indeed, it's a miracle. It's a miracle, courtesy of science. So science has been able to evolve to that level where we can say there is a cure for sickle cell. So gene therapy is similar to it. At the state that we are is still in testing phase. And a lot of we've had a number of success stories, but it's still in the testing phase. So what we have currently in Nigeria is the bone marrow transplantation, and is an option. The gene therapy is an option, and in the next couple of years we want to see more investment in research that will help to promote this in Nigeria. Yes, when you look at the pyramid of care, you understand that cure is at the top of that pyramid. Okay, and the top is usually very small,
very narrow.
Very narrow. The base is where more emphasis should be given to individuals, where prevention, care and treatment should be. The routine medication should be given to as many persons as possible to keep them good, to keep them in a perfect condition. So, but at the cure level, it's a good to have, because Nigeria is the country with the highest burden of the condition. So it's a good to have the cure in Nigeria. And we hope to see a lot of medical tourism from other parts of the country plugging into Nigeria to obtain it. Nigeria should be at the forefront of championing anything related to sickle cell. Yes.
Because of the burden.
Yes, we have the highest burden, so we should champion it. And that is what we are trying to do. So over to your next question.
Yes, about affordability.
Affordability.
Yes.
So at the moment, I told you part of the communique was for routine medication to be made available. Yes. So at the moment, individuals living with sickle cell disorder pay out of pocket. Yes, they pay out of pocket. But the foundation over the years have been able to galvanize support from private individuals, and through public-private partnership, we've been able to fund several interventions. For example, some years back, we were able to intervene and carry out bone marrow transplant for about 50 persons outside the country, in Rome.
In Rome, okay.
Yes. So we're able to do that with support. Those things are not possible without funding.
Funding, of course.
So with the support of various well-meaning stakeholders, we're able to carry out that intervention. We also have an initiative which we call the Inner Wheel project, which we carried out some few years back also, which was a project that was designed to replace the hip, do a hip replacement for individuals. And that project was very successful. We were able to do hip replacement surgeries for about 25 persons. So hip, what is called avascular necrosis, is one of the complications for sickle cell.
Sickle cell disorder.
Yes.
Oh, I
where
was
you
wondering.
have the hip dislocating, at the top of the hip bone begins to wear out.
Is that a result of weak bones?
No. As a result of the sickle cell, which tend to block vessels that are supposed to supply blood to that place. So necrosis begins to happen, which is death of the cells at the top of the hip, the ball and socket joint there. So it begins to break down And as a result, you see a person that was walking straight begin to
walk in a
particular bend. Okay, so we're able to carry out those interventions courtesy of support from individual. So far, the foundation provides funding for various interventions, and the foundation has set up a national sickle cell center. So what we have there is a national sickle cell center, not owned by the government, but national in the sense that it carries out a comprehensive management for sickle cell. And at the National Sickle Cell Center, we have various departments that are designed to cater for different. We have the stroke prevention, we have the leg ulcer management, we have the genetic counseling, we have the prenatal diagnosis department, we have our reference hemoglobin lab. That is another part that we need to emphasize.
Okay, tell us about
this.
Yes. We have some few minutes.
The reference hemoglobin lab at the Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria is a reference center like the name entails. If you listen to a number of persons who have sickle cell, they will tell you that, who have children living with sickle cell, they will tell you that I was given AA from the lab. They will tell you, many people will tell you that I didn't know I was AS. I tested in the laboratory and I was given a result that I was AA. With that in mind, I married a woman that was AS, or I married a man that was AS, believing that I've gotten a result. So we see this a number of times, misdiagnosis.
Oh dear.
So at the foundation, we have a reference lab that when you test, you can be sure that if you go across the wall, you will have the same result. So part of the communique is to ensure that our laboratories are regularized. There is proper monitoring
across
across the country. Yes. So at the moment there is poor monitoring of laboratory centers. So you see a lot of misdiagnostics. A number of them will do one test and then give out results. But at our center we do multiple tests, confirmatory tests. We don't just stop at the first. So we do a confirmatory test to be sure before we give. 2 or 3 tests are done sequentially. So when you see this, you still want to probe further to be sure that the result you are giving out is accurate.
Wow. Yes. This is a lot to take in, and I would love for us to have this discussion, you know, maybe at another day, or we'll probably pay a visit to the center to see how the center is doing, and of course see success stories. Of people that have been through the center and come back and tell us that, yeah, they are living. And you even mentioned 1 or 2 already, that you have a 90-year-old.
We have 90-year-old. We have Mommy Pokola. She should be 66 now.
Wow.
Yes. She's one of our, she's a club coordinator now.
Oh.
Yes. Of Ifako Ijaye, Sickle Cell Area Club. So she's doing well. If you see her, she's doing very well. We have a board member who is a person living with sickle cells. He's also doing very well. So persons living with sickle cell can live a pain-free life. They can live meaningful, impactful life. That is the reality, if they do that which is required.
And those with the hip transplants and
hip replacement,
and bone marrow.
Transplant.
Hip replacement is quite different from bone marrow transplant.
But for those who went through that particular
operation,
is there a follow-up to it, or are they just fine after that?
Yes, they are expected to be fine after the process. However, there's a need for follow-up. Okay, because after any operation, you need to do a follow-up from time to time. But it's actually for the bone marrow, it's a curative procedure, but the team of professionals will do a follow-up over a period of time to ensure that you are fine. And like I said, there's routine medical visits that should be a part of the lifestyle of the persons living. Routine medical visits, so that you don't wait until you fall sick before you see your doctor. Yes.
A lot to be said, really. Thank you so much. Yes, I think final words. We wish we could do final words, but at the top of the hour, we need to go for the news at by 9 a.m. And I want to believe that you've said a lot already, and our viewers, I'm sure they've learned one or two things, if not many other things, from this discussion we had with the representative talking about the operations manager of Sickle Cell Foundation Nigeria, in person of Mr. Anthony Babatunde, and of course he is also a public health expert and a public health specialist. Yes, and he's been talking to us about Sickle Cell Foundation, living with sickle cell, living better and more quality life. And a lot I really took away from our discussion this morning, talking about there is the possibility of living a pain-free life, even as a sickle cell carrier. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
really
having
appreciate
me.
you being here today.
Yes,
we'll take a very quick break now, and when we return, we'll be looking at the stories making the rounds. Just stay tuned.
Stay up to date with LN 24/7. LN 24/7. With news, politics, business, sports, and more on LN 24/7. Where the story goes, we go.
Thank you very much for staying tuned to LN 24/7. It's time to look at the stories making the rounds at this time. President Bola Tinubu says the insecurity in the Northwest region is affecting other parts of the country. Tinubu stated this in Katsina at a two-day summit themed regional cooperation for securing lives and livelihoods in Northwest Nigeria. Organized by the Northwest Governors Forum in collaboration with the United Nations Development Program. The president, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, said the security issue in the Northwest was not a sectional matter, adding whenever any part of the country was allaying, others would be affected. Tinubu noted that his administration's steps to combat its inherited security challenges were mapped out, and in the quote it says, even before embarking on the journey. He assured Nigerians that his administration will not rest on its oars until banditry, terrorism and other forms of insecurity were eliminated.
Meanwhile, the federal government says it is banning single-use plastic across all its ministries, departments and agencies. The Minister of State for Environment, Isiaq Salako, disclosed this to journalists after the Federal Executive Council meeting, which was presided over by President Bola Tinubu at the State House in Abuja on Tuesday. Salako said the ban aligns with the government's broader plastic waste management strategy. He also noted that the initiative demonstrates the commitment to addressing the triple threat of climate change, biodiversity loss and pollution, which is a major issue in Nigeria.
To another development, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has praised the media for its pivotal role in countering terrorism and cautioned against misinformation and fake news. Speaking at the opening of a two-day training workshop on effective reporting towards strengthening alternatives to terrorist ideologies for defense correspondents and reporters, held at the office of the National Security Advisor on Tuesday, Idris highlighted the crucial influence of the media in shaping public perceptions and promoting peace. He emphasized the significant impact that media coverage has on public understanding of terrorism and national security issues, while urging journalists to work closely with security experts, sociologists, psychologists and community leaders to provide comprehensive perspective on terrorism and its alternatives.
Now to some business news. The Debt Management Office says the rise in Nigeria's public debt stock from 97.34 trillion naira in December 2023 to 121.67 trillion naira in March is partly due to exchange rates fluctuations. The Director General of DMO, Patience Oniha, said this in an interview on Tuesday in Abuja. She said that the scrutinization of the 4.90 trillion naira as part of the scrutinization of the 7.3 trillion naira Ways and Means advances approved by the National Assembly was also responsible for the 24.33 trillion naira increase in the debt stock. She, however, emphasized that the debt stock included the domestic and external debt stock of the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory.
Still in business, the Kano State government on Tuesday remitted over 600 million naira for the execution of new developmental projects. Similarly, the government renewed its commitment to review all donor funding projects in the state to ensure hitch-free implementation, transparency and accountability. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf gave the assurance at the opening of the stakeholders dialogue meeting on effective implementation of international development funds in Kano. The governor who reiterated the public trust associated with borrowed funds from the donor agencies, insisted that his administration would ensure prudent dispense of funds and execution of designated projects. He reminded the donor agencies co-funding the projects in the state not to hesitate to report any attempted compromise and or the fact of breaches in the implementation of the ongoing projects. He reminded the donor.
Elsewhere in Kenya, police allegedly fired live ammunition at anti-government protesters in Kenya's capital on Tuesday, as thousands of people continued protests against proposed in the East African nation. At least 5 people were reported shot dead during Tuesday's clashes between police and protesters in Nairobi, according to Amnesty International. Another 31 people were injured, the organization said, adding that at least 52 protesters have been arrested. Hundreds of protesters entered Kenya's parliament, setting parts of the building ablaze for several days. Kenyans have been demonstrating against the new finance bill that introduces unpopular tax proposals that have drawn a lot of anger across the nation. Now, the controversial bill, which has provisions that are seen as imposing extra burdens on ordinary citizens and businesses, has sparked a huge outcry from a public already weighed down by the high cost of living.
That's what we are asking.
And that is all we have for you on news at this time. Of course, you can head onto our website at www.LN247 to get more information on there, and also follow us on all our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram, LN247 News, also on X, LN247 News. Also, you can watch us on this LN247 platforms, UHF 36 for Lagos, UHF 33 for Abuja, and also Astra 2F frequency for LN247 Africa. And also follow us on our King's Chat super user handle at LN247 for more updates as well. Morning show continues shortly. Do stay with us.
With LN247. LN247. With news, politics, business, sports, and more on LN247. Where the story goes, we go.
LN247 is first of all a news station.
We continue with updates from the just concluded governorship
in the southeast has raised questions if INEC will be able to conduct elections.
With a core team of over 40 correspondents spread across
Nigeria is set to take its place.
The unions of aviation workers are out here protesting.
And affiliates in Africa, Europe, America, and Asia. We give you news as it breaks from the perspective you can trust. LN247 News, where the story goes, we go.
LN247 lights up your day with unbeatable shows that guarantees absolute access to stories that revolves around politics, entertainment, and sports. Breaking news, plus detailed reports and analysis. At LN247, where the story goes, we go.
What makes the political system what it is today?
What are the recurring issues?
Order.
The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension.
The instability of the system.
Join LN247 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
Apologize for saying that I was corrupt. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
Watch politics now on LN247.
Don't miss Politics Now on LN247.
Dates are tropical fruits grown on the date palm tree in small clusters. A tasty and highly nutritious fruit that has dark brown, soft flesh and is uniquely sweet. Dates may have some really powerful health benefits like boosting energy, increasing iron in the body, and aiding digestion. Rich in various nutrients, fiber, and antioxidants, dates are popular throughout the world. These dried fruits may prove to be beneficial in treating various conditions due to their anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and anti-tumor properties. Dates have been the staple food in the Middle East for thousands of years. Recently, a 2,000-year-old date seed has been germinated in Israel. The seed was found in an archaeological excavation. This type of date had unique qualities, but it disappeared 500 years ago. Each date can be about 60 to 70% sugar and a high amount of fiber, depending on the variety, which makes it ideal as a healthy energy booster. It is also high in iron and may help in fighting anemia. Whenever you're craving something sweet, instead of going for candy or sugar, opt for dates instead. They are just as sweet and way better for you. Dates are now popular all over the world and are used as a natural sweetener in smoothies, juice, nutrition bars, and baked products like cakes and muffins. You can also buy premium dates that are stuffed with almonds and peanut butter, and specialty products like date masalis, a sweet sticky syrup that can be drizzled on pancakes or porridge. Dates nutrition. Dates are a good source of energy, fiber, sugar, and various vitamins and minerals essential, such as calcium, iron, phosphorus, sodium, potassium, magnesium, sulfur, and zinc. All these can be found in dates. Apart from the above-mentioned nutrients, they may also contain important vitamins such as thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, vitamin B6, folate, vitamin A, and vitamin K. Let's take a look at some of the health benefits of the dates. Dates can be a good source of energy. Dates are high in natural sugars like glucose, fructose, and sucrose. The high energy present in dates can be attributed to this high sugar content. Many people around the world are estimated to eat natural low-fat dates for a quick afternoon snack when they are feeling sluggish to help bump up energy levels fast. Dates may boost brain health. Dates may protect against oxidative stress and inflammation of the brain. According to research, date palm fruits are a good source of dietary fiber and are rich in total phenolics and natural antioxidants. The presence of this polyphenolics compound may potentially help slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Dates can potentially relieve constipation. In traditional Tunisian medicine, dates are used for treating constipation. A serving of 100 grams of dates provides 6.7 grams of dietary fiber. A 2005 study published in the Journal of Agriculture and Food Chemistry also suggests that these dried fruits have high levels of dietary fiber and insoluble fiber. In particular, the insoluble fiber found in dates may potentially promote healthy digestion by bulking up the stool and may also help in relieving the symptoms of constipation. Dates may prevent heart diseases. A study by Wassim Rock et al. In the Journal of Agriculture and Food Chemistry concluded that consuming dates was effective at reducing triglyceride levels, and decreasing oxidative stress, both of which are risk factors for heart disease and the buildup of fatty plaque in the arteries. Dates can potentially treat sexual dysfunction. There are many benefits of dates for men, but this makes for one of the most important ones. In 2006, an animal study revealed the effects of date palm pollen and its oil on sexual functioning, reporting that a high level of estradiol and flavonoid components in dates help in increasing sperm count and motility. Another study conducted in India states that the date palm pollen may have been used to treat male infertility in traditional medicine. Therefore, if you're looking for an easy way to boost your libido and sexual function, you may consider consuming organic dates. However, consulting with a trusted medical practitioner before trying is strongly recommended to determine the best course of treatment. Dates can aid bone health improvement. A publication by Julie Garden Robinson, PhD, and colleagues of North Dakota State University suggests that dates contain boron, which is among the nutrients that promote healthy bones. A study published in the Journal of Critical Reviews in Food Science and Nutrition suggests that significant amounts of minerals such as phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and magnesium found in dried fruits may make them a superfood for strengthening bones and fighting off painful and debilitating disease like osteoporosis. Organic pitted dates may contain selenium, manganese, copper, and magnesium, all of which may aid in managing bone health, and particularly among older adults. Dates may promote healthy weight gain. According to USDA, dried fruits are high in sugar along with proteins and many other essential vitamins and minerals. They are also high in fiber, which can aid in weight management. Dates are easily available in grocery markets and make for a healthy and delicious snack. Dates may also promote natural labor. Eating dates may help promote natural labor and also ease late-term labor for pregnant women. A 2017 study published in the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology found that 154 pregnant women, when given dates, did not need to be induced for labor with prostaglandin and oxytocins. Dates also did not have any adverse effect on the mother and the child. Another study found that eating 6 dates daily for 4 weeks before labor significantly reduced the need for labor induction. There are several ways to inculcate dates into your diet. Apart from eating them as they are, people consume them in several other ways. You can make into a paste and mix with milk and yogurt. You can also use the dates paste as bread spread as a part of a delicious, healthy breakfast. You can make dates into crumbles and use for cereal and porridge. You can also use date sugar, which is the dried variety grounded into tiny pieces. Although these dried fruits carry tremendous nutritional value, great care should be taken in their selection because of their surface, which is always very sticky, which may attract various impurities. Finally, keep in mind that dried dates are relatively high in sugar and calories, which may contribute to weight gain and other health issues if consumed in excess. Therefore, it is best to keep consumption in moderation and enjoy it as part of a healthy, balanced diet to maximize the potential health benefits.
What makes the political system what it is today?
What are the recurring issues?
Order.
The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension.
The instability of the system.
Join Ellen 24/7 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
Apologize for saying that I was corrupt. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
Watch politics now
on Ellen 24/7.
Don't miss Politics Now on Ellen 24/7. That's Ellen 24/7 Sports. Football just got better. For the fans. For loyalty. For the tackles.
A near supernatural goal from Lionel Messi.
For the celebrations. For the goals. For the love of the game.
All right, thank you very much for staying tuned to Ellen 24/7. It's still this morning show on this Wednesday morning, the 26th day of June, and we are wrapping it up now for the health and lifestyle segment.
Right.
It's been a very, beautiful one. And of course, Cleo was out and about yesterday. She was at a conference, an International Fire Safety Conference. Did I get that right?
The Lagos International Fire Safety Conference.
We were really hoping we could bring you that report, but of course, you would be seeing it on the station, today.
Yeah, of course. Yesterday was a really memorable day, especially because, we've had series of fires in Lagos. And last year, too, I learned, like, from statistics, there were about 2,537, distress calls that the fire service received. And those calls led to 82 loss of lives. And also over 25 billion worth of goods and properties. And because of that, that conference was really, really needed. And the fact that the governor himself came to inaugurate that conference, said a lot about how important, it is at this time. We had the recent fire incident just this Sunday, on the 23rd of the same month of June. So you can imagine why, at this point in time, that conference is really needed. Of course, it's an ongoing conference.
Ongoing, yes,
it's a 3-day hybrid conference, so you can also still, go there, because it's a lot was said, sensitization, market women were there.
Oh, nice.
Yes, market women were there, a lot of representative of Lagosians. It was just a mix of everybody, in there, when the governor and other key speakers and stakeholders, took turns to talk, sensitize, and also, collaborate on ways to actually mitigate these fire disasters, and also maybe limit the effects that it has on the devastating effects it has on lives and properties. Of course, yesterday was the governor's birthday.
Of course.
And it was there. So, seeing him there, I was surprised, because I'm like, okay, today's your birthday, and you're out and about. And he had to tell, one of the things he said I took home is, he told Lagosians, he said, the only birthday gift you can give me is to ensure safety. Safety at your workplace, safety in your houses, safety in your schools. Always just try to be that your neighbor's keeper.
Exactly.
You might be thinking that you are careful, and your next door neighbor isn't so careful as you are. But when you see things, don't just leave them to just, go like that. For instance, those market women who see their neighbor putting generator on top of their shops and would not see anything. At the end of the day, remember the one that they were trying to pour fuel while the generator was on.
And then they threw it from upstairs.
So he made that reference again, and said that when you see your neighbor doing something very hazardous, as something that might cause a fire, incident or outbreak, you make sure that you sensitize that person and let that person stop such acts so that lives and properties can be secured in Lagos State.
Yes, and of course, we will bring you that report, subsequently in the news bulletin later today. Well, we'll say our goodbyes for now. We brought you a discussion on sickle cell disorder and how to live even a higher quality of life, as a sickle cell patient. Well, I'll say thank you. It's been a beautiful one.
It's been a beautiful ride. Between our morning.
Of course. And of course, Emmanuel Abia is standing by to bring us the developing story.
With his strong face as well.
I remain Olasubor currently. So thank you. I will see you some other time.
Stay up to date with LN 24/7. LN 24/7. With news, politics, business, sports, and more on LN 24/7. Where the story goes, we go.
What makes the political system what it is today?
What are the recurring issues?
Order.
The tussle for power.
An extremely problematic area.
The tension.
The instability of the system.
Join LN 24/7 as we take you inside the local and international political arena in the world of politics.
Apologize for saying that I was corrupt. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
Watch politics now on LN 24/7.
Don't miss Politics Now on LN 24/7.
Stay up to date with LN 24/7. LN 24/7. With news, politics, business, sports, and more on LN 24/7. Where the story goes, we go.
Welcome to Developing Stories on this morning on LN 24/7, and I'll be doing this with Cleopatra Okoye.
Always a pleasure.
I will not forget what you said. But it's okay.
I was joking.
No,
I can't someone joke with you.
After all the beauty that I compliment you with, and you do
Emmanuel,
this
you look handsome.
It's fine, no problem.
You always look handsome, and I like your shirt.
Let's go on with the show. It's okay. We'll talk in camera. Anyways, today on Developing Stories, the Nigerian government has postponed the commencement date for phase 2 of its student loan scheme targeted at state universities. Now, this was disclosed on Tuesday in a statement by the spokesperson for the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, Nasser Ayi-Togo. NELFund had earlier fixed June 25th, 2024 to commence the second phase. However, the management of the scheme has announced the postponement by 2 weeks. NELFund noted that the postponement was necessitated by the failure of several state-owned institutions to upload the required student data and fee information to the NELFund student verification system. According to Ayi-Togo, only a limited number of state-owned institutions have completed the data submission process since its inception. Now, we do recall that on May 24th, the NELFund launched a portal for federal universities to register for the scheme. President Bola Tinubu signed the reviewed Student Loan Act in April 2024 to enable indigent students to access interest facilities. The government had earmarked 60 billion naira for the scheme in 2024 national budget. Of course, this is happening at a time when there's been a lot of increase in so many things. We're talking about, there was even an increase in fees, and students were complaining that they're not being able to meet up with the fees, and we were all happy when the Students' Loan Act was signed into law, and we were saying, okay, finally there's something to cushion all this, the effect of this increase. And amidst the celebration, about a few months after, it has not kick-started yet, and it's been from one postponement to another, and we're just wondering, how would these students cope? Because some of the schools had a 100% increase, in fact, astronomical increase across board, and I just wonder how the students cope.
Now, much as I would like to always put it on the authorities and say it's something that I wouldn't say that I didn't see coming. Of course, like every other policies that has been put in place, implementation is always a concern. Implementation is always the issue. It's not just about saying that we're going to do something. It's how do you plan to carry that particular action out. But then, talking about the institutions, so of course, part of the reason why this has not been able to actually kickstart as they proposed is because, like they said, some institutions, mostly state-owned institutions, have refused to submit, data, and further making the job, very difficult. Of course, if they don't have data to work with, how would they do how would the student loan be properly, disbursed? How would they have the students that really need the funds? Some of them will be, should I use the word disenfranchised? Oh, yes. They would not have to, but they would be able to benefit for it because their institutions have not probably submitted their data. So these are one of the issues. And like I said, policy implementation is the issue here. Policy implementation is the issue.
I just wonder why we keep struggling with all these data upload, data collation. In fact, just recently, talking about data, the NIMC were accused of sabotaging Nigeria's database. Nigerians' data are out there on several websites, and they have denied ever,
of course, they would deny it.
Putting up this, giving allowance for this to happen. But then, it has been reported that you can access Nigerian citizens' NIN with NIN details with just 100 naira. That's how low, how cheap.
Imagine that.
How cheap Nigeria's data has been in the, should we call them black market? Are they even black market? Because they're out there.
You ask yourself, some people will get their phone hacked and probably they didn't even click on anything, like all these clickbait that give access to these fraudsters and hackers. You wonder how did they actually get access to people's phones, Actually, I've asked that question, myself that question a lot of times, because it's not everybody that actually fell into the hands of these hackers by doing something that they shouldn't have done. Some are just, minding their business, doing their normal, living their normal life, and then boom, someone has hacked into their accounts or hacked into, into their phones and using it to actually swindle people of their hard-earned money. So you keep asking yourself, why do we always have this breach of security in Nigeria? Still talking about data uploading, data security, data everything. Nothing is secured, in this country. And of course, it's the state of the nation.
Right now, it's very difficult for the state university to upload the data of students so that they can be able to access the students' loans.
Which I actually find funny, if you ask me. I don't even think it should be this cumbersome. These are students who have, before they entered the university, they have done JAMB, they have passed some form of data scrutinization, submitted their data. The government, I dare say the government should even have their data, apart from the ones that these institutions own. So I'm wondering why they are relying
from one level to the other.
Exactly. So I'm wondering why they keep coming up and saying data, the institutions have not given them data, and all of that. Of course, this would also leave room for data manipulation at the end of the day. Trust me, we will still get to that point.
Like what we have ghost workers.
Ghost workers, yeah. So these are the issues. These are really the issues.
Anyways, let's move on to the next issue, and it's all about health. As we are discussing, we've been discussing health and lifestyle today. Andrew Essien, a deputy controller of the Nigerian Customs Service, NSC, died on Tuesday after collapsing while being questioned by the House of Representatives Committee on Public Account. Mr. Essien, who was in charge of revenue in the NCS's account unit, was answering questions about customs revenue when he coughed and requested water. Let's take a listen to this video.
That's 2016. If you look at 2016, it comprises other levies. The first one I think was for only one levy. If you check the 2016, you will see other levies. That is, you see the 30% levy on sanitary waste. You can see that's page 6. You can see the levy there. And then you also see a textile levy, cement levy, and others. So I need to take water.
You need to take water, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead. Or if you need tea, do you need tea?
I may need to take water.
It's very sad seeing this happen on live TV, and very sad situation. And we keep talking about health. People watching how their health is on going. I'm
you are short for words.
I'm lost for words.
Yeah, but this is, I don't know why I'm even laughing. This is not even funny. It's not funny in any way. But then, the first thought that came to my mind, first thought that came to my mind when I was watching that video, before I actually realized that the man really collapsed and died, brought to my memory in hindsight the other. Is it I've forgotten what?
Okay.
That was being questioned, and all of a sudden, he was gasping for breath.
This is nowhere near that.
This is nowhere near that, But that, of course, is almost like the same scenario here. But one who died eventually died. It's really not a laughing matter. It just shows that those who are also at the arms of affairs should also take time to, take care of themselves. You cannot be in a position of authority where you have access to funds and all of that, and your health is deteriorating. Most times people neglect health issues, and then boom, one little thing triggers it, and before you know, it has a devastating and debilitating effect on the individual, and you are wondering, how did he get here? Because now you're looking at this man, he came there, walked with his own two legs, sat down, has been talking, answering questions, and all of a sudden he collapsed. You're asking yourself, how did that happen? It is some underlying health conditions that have gone maybe unchecked, or maybe mismanaged or undermanaged, that has resulted to that, if you ask me.
Anyways, let's put up the phone lines. I think you may want to say something about all of these matters that has been discussed. We cannot overemphasize the fact, the need for you to take care of yourself.
Prioritize your health.
I mean, Olasunbo Okorome and Cleopatra here have been talking about how every Wednesday we do this on the lifestyle health and lifestyle show. We engage you on how to take care of yourself. No matter where you are in the strata of the society, no matter where you are in government position, in positions of authority, you need to take care of yourself. That's why we keep talking about, when we ask this question of the health of these people contesting for offices, the health of these people who are under this position, it's like it's like there is maybe a witch hunting going on. It's not witch hunting. It's something that is very important. The health, your health is very important, and you cannot do a good job if you're not healthy.
Exactly. You can't give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have. Of course, you know that this particular position, some positions in the country require rigorous, activities, like you stay up all night trying to coordinate affairs, doing all of that stuff. Of course, it will put a strain on your health. But if you are the kind of person
they were preparing a report, and it must have taken a lot of time.
What it takes. Just yesterday that I was at the Lagos International Fire Conference, I saw some of the organizers. They were looking stressed. So you can imagine. How.
Let's take
many.
This call.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear us? We can hear you.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
We're doing great, thank you.
Yes, Shaman calling from Kaduna, my sister and my brother.
All right, go ahead, please.
Honestly speaking, the narration of our nation seems not to be receiving attention. The expectation of the citizens is not being taken care of. The leadership of this nation doesn't care about us. And that's the reason why Nigeria will continue to be in the position it is. Because the citizen needs to be taken care of by those in power. But what is happening in this country, honestly speaking, my sister and my brother, Nigerians are not smiling. Leadership at its own peaks has failed this country, especially the present government. Since 2015 till date, we've never gotten it right. Nigerians are not treated as if they are citizens of this nation. We are treated with disdain. We are not treated with fairness, and that's the reason why the country will continue to be in stagnancy. But we are telling our daddy, President Tinubu, to be careful, because some people are trying to truncate his government. If he's not careful, issue of minimum wage, other issues that they are promising. Look at issue of student loan that they said they will give to students. Since last year they started this program, it has never come to be. What kind of government do we have? Is that a kind of governance that Nigeria should experience? Most of us are masses. You hardly even pay school fees of your child, but they are increasing school fees. Even to give loan, to a kind of give cushion to the effects of what they are causing to parents. They are not doing it right. Is that a leadership we're supposed to have? We are pleading with the leadership of this nation to have the fear of God in them, to do the needful, so that the citizens will have a saying on this nation, because Nigerians are suffering. Hardship is tearing at us. Every human being that lives in this country knows that we are not getting it right in this country. May God help them to do the needful, because they know they will stand before God to account for whatever they have done to the humanity here on earth. There's God's judgment, and that God's judgment, none of them will escape it. Good morning, my brother and my sister, and do have a blessed day.
Thank you very much.
Have a blessed day too.
Have a blessed day. You just brought up one issue about the Federal Executive Council postponing the implementation of the minimum wage. It's a big matter right now.
Yes.
And the discussion is on. And they're saying they want to consult state governments. And Nigerians are asking, haven't we, in fact, was this the discussion? Was
the same state government that have said, vehemently said or refused.
They cannot pay 60,000.
Some of them are even not paying the 30. What's the one that 30,000
owing
naira
for months.
You know, owing for months, not to talk of this. So it just shows how and where the minds of our leaders are at this point. It's easy. It's just easy to tell. You know, earlier on the morning show, I was telling SB that there is no nation or no country where citizens will see their government putting in efforts to better the lives of the citizens, even if they've not gotten to the point where they want to be. But when they see efforts have been made, you know, they would participate. They will give the government their utmost support. They won't come out to protest or start crying out. You know, they are not animals. They have needs and they have rights, and these are the rights that the government should think about. And when the government keep making light of your rights and making it look like you don't even maybe your needs or your agitations are stupid, you know, rubbishing it in such a way that you are, you know, it's like when you are battering, like, you know, going back and forth, like you're pricing rice and beans, and someone is posting you here and there.
And,
you start thinking,
and putting 2,000 on top of the request.
You start thinking, is this, am I a joke or is this a joke?
Anyway, he's talking about the response to a protest around the world. The Kenyan President William Ruto denounced protest on Tuesday that saw Parliament stormed and at least 5 people shot dead as treasonous. Now, but he did not address the swelling outrage against the controversial finance bill that sparked widespread demonstration. Kenya is in the grip of a nationwide protest against proposed tax hikes, culminating in Tuesday's total shutdown of the country, which quickly turned violent as police used tear gas and live rounds on protesters. The controversial finance bill has unleashed widespread protest movement, vowing for 7 days of rage last week. The government scrapped some tax increases, including a proposed 16% value-added tax on bread, along with taxes on motor vehicles, vegetable oil and mobile money transfers. But the concession have not been enough to quell protest amid the rising cost of living. Take a listen to President Ruto.
I experienced an unprecedented attack on its democracy, rule of law, and the integrity of its constitutional institutions. An otherwise legitimate expression of the fundamental rights and freedoms of assembly, demonstration, picketing, and petitioning of public authorities by a section of law-abiding citizens of the Republic of Kenya was infiltrated and hijacked by a group of organized criminals. Most regrettably, today's attack on Kenya's constitutional order has resulted in the loss of lives, also destruction of property and desecration of institutions and emblems of our sovereignty. Accordingly, I have directed all the organs of our national security to deploy measures to thwart any attempt by dangerous criminals to undermine the security and stability of our country.
Well, we've seen how the protests turned out in Kenya, how it turned out violent. But what did we expect? People are angry in that country because of the finance bill that was being discussed.
You know, it's always funny when government sees a protest, and when this protest has gone south or something has happened as a result of the protest, they keep saying that terrorists or dangerous people have been dangerous persons have hijacked the protest. Of course, you allow that to happen. If you had done the right thing and your citizens see the effort you're putting into bettering their life, they would not come out in the first place. Not to talk of the situation where a dangerous person or persons would not have hijacked the protest and make it something else. So when government talk like that, it's like trying to shelve the responsibility or the reason for the protest. You should have asked. When you are addressing the press, you should also address them and say, oh, okay, yes, we understand the reason for this protest. This and this are what we are going to do. Even if you have to say something like, oh, we are consulting and we'll get back to you, at least douse the flame. But when you say things like making the people's agitations look like it's
child's play to you. It's
like children throwing tantrums.
Like you called it, treasonous.
Yes, we've seen that happen to so many African leaders when they see the youth come out, to talk about what they need, and they just call it tantrums. They make it look like they are just throwing tantrums and just fighting for a senseless cause, totally making mockery of the reason for the protest. You have not addressed the reason. Now you are addressing the fact that, oh yes, there's a pushback by the people. You should be concerned for the safety of your people, for the security of your people, and the fact that your people are out there in dangerous climes protesting. It should be the first concern of a government that actually has the betterment of the people at heart.
Well, we can't overlook the fact that there was a breakdown of law and order in the country, and the parliament was broken into. In fact,
which is not in any way
a good thing at all.
A good thing.
The maze of the parliament was taken, and a lot of things happened there. And President Ruto said that he will deploy all security measures. In fact, deploying, I think he's going to deploy the military in the country to douse this protest that he says or alleges that it has been hijacked. But these young people that we have seen out there on the streets, in fact, it's called a Gen Z protest. Full of young people.
Yeah, that's what it's
demanding a better life, demanding that the finance bill should be stepped down.
And of course, not forgetting that this particular government made promises to the same youth.
Exactly.
And that was why, many of them gave him the support, coming into office thinking that he was going to do something better. I have some Kenyan friends, and I see their posts on X, and as they talk about the issues that is facing them in the country. Although when I see some of the things that they list, I laugh.
It's the same script with Nigeria.
I laugh because in comparison with what we are facing in Nigeria,
it's not well close, eh?
It's not close. I'm like, okay, so you guys are just experiencing this. You have not seen the promise that we are going through in Nigeria. But not to make light of the matter, I digress there. Kenya, or the Kenyan government, it's high time they come to terms, because Kenyans are very, I don't use the word, they are very intense. They take anything about governance, especially when you've made promises to them and you are not fulfilling that promise, they take it to heart. And they would not let, that's one thing I like about them, though I'm not in any way supporting the violence and anything. I like the fact that they always hold their government accountable. They would stand if you are making any law that is going to be at their detriment. They would cry out, they would shout, they would do everything they need to do, and they would not back down until something is done. So the government should try and do something about the issues that are being raised, not saying that the protest has been hijacked and trying to clamp down, on the youth, the people, the leaders of tomorrow that will still come after you, to be there. You're not going to be there forever. Some other person is going to come after you.
We saw what happened in Senegal and how that protest led to the removal of the president.
Exactly.
And so maybe that is what Ruto is afraid about.
Tread very softly here.
But anyways, power belongs to the people, first of all. Power belongs to the people, and the elected officials. Do remember that that power was given to you by the people.
By the people.
And they can take it anytime. But we've talked about recalling.
No matter how much you wield the forces, they will take it one way or the other.
Recalling your representatives. You can recall your representatives. If they are not speaking for you, if they are not speaking your voices, we're not in any way supporting the protest. But then again, you need to make a lot of considerations when talking about this matter. That's how far we can come on this morning's show and on Developing Stories this morning. It's been an amazing discussion.
Amazing time with you, Emmanuel.
Thank you very much, Cleopatra. And thank you very much for joining us all through the day. And from us here, it's bye for now.
See you.